On March 7, 2022, 28-year-old Ketora Denise Feazell was shot and killed in Las Vegas, Nevada. The shooter was her boyfriend, Marvin Simmons, 31. The incident occurred outside his residence after an argument. Feazell was inside her car, preparing to leave, when Simmons fired a gun. The bullet hit her chest, and she died at the scene. Witnesses in the neighborhood reported hearing a loud argument before the gunshot. A 911 call was placed, and emergency responders arrived. Feazell was unresponsive. Simmons was arrested on-site and charged with open murder. He was later taken into police custody as the investigation continued. This case gained attention because Feazell was well known in the fashion industry. She was a model and entrepreneur and the owner of Ketora Echelon, a growing boutique in Las Vegas. She had built her business from the ground up and had a strong presence in the local fashion scene. Her boutique sold trendy, high-end clothing, and she was admired for her sense of style and business success. Feazell had been in a relationship with Marvin Simmons for several months. While their relationship appeared normal in public, close friends later revealed that Simmons was controlling and jealous. The couple had a history of arguments, but no one expected it to turn deadly. Investigators gathered witness statements, forensic evidence, and security footage to build the case against Simmons. He initially denied shooting Feazell, later claiming he was aiming at a crowd, not at her. However, evidence proved otherwise. Simmons faced charges of murder and attempting to shoot into an occupied vehicle. The case went to court, where he was found guilty and sentenced to prison. If you're captivated by our true crime stories but haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. By subscribing, you're not just supporting our channel. You're helping shed light on real cases, spread awareness, and keep these important stories alive. Join our community and be part of the conversation that matters. Before we begin, drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? What are your thoughts as this story unfolds? Because your voice matters. These are real lives, real tragedies, and real lessons that we can't afford to ignore. Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we uncover the stories that lurk in the shadows, the crimes that shake communities, the betrayals no one saw coming, and the horrifying truths hidden behind closed doors. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the twists, the revelations, and the chilling reality of the cases we bring to you every day. Now let's begin. Ketora Denise Feazell was born and raised in the United States. She grew up in a supportive family that encouraged her to follow her dreams. From a young age, Ketora had a strong interest in fashion and modeling. She loved dressing up, designing outfits, and taking pictures. As a child, Ketora showed a natural talent for style and creativity. She would often help family members and friends pick out clothes and put together outfits. People noticed her eye for fashion, and it became clear that she had a passion for it. She worked hard in school while also learning about the fashion industry. She studied different fashion trends, watched runway shows, and kept up with popular designers. She knew that one day she wanted to create something of her own. After finishing school, Ketora started working toward her dream. She took modeling jobs, posted fashion content online, and built her name in the industry. Ketora Feazell began her career as a model and social media influencer. She posted photos of her outfits, shared style tips, and gained a following online. People admired her unique sense of fashion, and brands started reaching out to her for collaborations. As her popularity grew, she decided to take the next big step, starting her own business. She launched her own boutique, Ketora Echelon, a fashion store in Las Vegas. The boutique sold stylish and trendy clothing, and customers loved her designs. Ketora worked hard to promote her business, and soon, Ketora Echelon became well known in Las Vegas. Many people in the fashion industry recognized her as a rising entrepreneur. She attended fashion events, networked with designers, and gained respect as a businesswoman. She wanted to expand her brand and open more stores. She also had plans to start her own clothing line. Her goal was to make Ketora Echelon a nationwide brand. Her success inspired many young women who wanted to follow in her footsteps. She proved that hard work and dedication could turn dreams into reality. Ketora Feazell was known for being kind, hardworking, and stylish. She was always focused on her goals and worked hard to build her career. She took time to mentor and support others in the fashion industry. She had big plans for the future. She wanted to grow her boutique, start a fashion line, and expand her influence. She was always looking for new opportunities to improve and innovate. People who knew Ketora described her as determined and ambitious. She had a strong work ethic and never gave up on her dreams. Outside of work, Ketora was loved by her friends, family, and customers. She built strong relationships with the people around her and was known for her friendly and professional attitude. She was active on social media, sharing updates about her boutique, fashion tips, and personal experiences. Her followers admired her for her creativity and dedication. Ketora Feazell was on the path to great success. She had already achieved a lot at a young age and had many more goals to accomplish. However, her life was cut short before she could reach her full potential. Ketora Denise Feazell was 28 years old and living in Las Vegas, Nevada. She was a fashion model, boutique owner, and entrepreneur. She had worked hard to build her own fashion brand, Ketora Echelon. Through her boutique, she sold stylish clothing and accessories. She was active on social media, where she gained followers who admired her work and success. As a business owner, Ketora attended events, fashion shows, and networking meetings. At some point, she met Marvin Simmons, a 31-year-old man. The details of how they first connected are unclear, but their relationship developed quickly. At first, everything seemed perfect. Marvin and Ketora went on dates, took trips together, and posted pictures online showing their love. They smiled in photos, attended events side by side, and appeared happy. Many people saw them as a successful couple. However, what people saw online was not the full story. As time passed, Marvin's behavior started to change. At first, it was small things that did not seem like a big problem. But over time, his actions became more concerning. Jealousy and possessiveness. Marvin did not like Ketora spending time with other people. If she was with her friends, he wanted to know where she was, who she was with, and when she would be back. Control issues. He started making decisions for her. He would get upset if she did something without telling him first. Frequent arguments. Their disagreements started as small fights, but became more intense and serious over time. Ketora's friends and family noticed a change in her. She wasn't as outgoing and energetic as before. She stopped spending as much time with friends and family. She seemed stressed and distracted when people talked to her. People close to her became concerned about the relationship. Some tried to warn her that Marvin's behavior was a problem, but Ketora stayed in the relationship. As the months passed, Marvin's actions became even more concerning. He would get angry if Ketora didn't answer his calls or text quickly. He wanted control over who she spent time with. He would argue with her about small things and make her feel like she was in the wrong. Despite these red flags, Ketora did not leave him. Whether she believed things would improve or felt pressure to stay, she continued the relationship. Marvin's jealous and controlling behavior continued to escalate. Many domestic violence cases follow the same pattern. The jealousy, control, and frequent arguments often lead to violence. Did Ketora realize the danger? Did Marvin plan the shooting ahead of time? Could someone have prevented what happened next? The warning signs were there, but no one expected the relationship to end in murder. The relationship between Ketora Feazell and Marvin Simmons started as passionate and loving, but quickly turned into a toxic situation. Marvin became controlling. He showed jealousy and possessiveness. He argued with Ketora frequently. Many people noticed the changes in Ketora, but no one could predict the deadly outcome. This case is an example of how warning signs can sometimes go unnoticed until it's too late. On March 7, 2022, Ketora Denise Feazell, 28, arrived at the home of Marvin Simmons, 31, in Las Vegas, Nevada. She had just returned from a weekend trip with him to Miami. The two had been in a relationship for several months. That night, Ketora had one reason for stopping by Simmons' house. She wanted to drop off a gift. It was a new pair of shoes. She had bought them for him as a thoughtful gesture. When she arrived, what should have been a quick and simple visit turned into a heated argument. It is unclear what started the disagreement, but witnesses later reported hearing loud voices. Some said that Simmons had been acting jealous and controlling in the past. and this argument might have been about his insecurities. As the argument intensified, Ketora decided she did not want to stay. She turned around and headed for the door. She had no interest in continuing the fight and wanted to leave the situation. Outside, she walked straight to her white Chevrolet Camaro. She opened the door and got inside, preparing to leave. However, Simmons was not done. Simmons followed Ketora outside. He was still angry from the argument. Then he pulled out a gun. Without any warning, he fired a single shot. The bullet hit Ketora directly in the chest. She slumped over in the driver's seat. She could not move. Blood spread across her clothes. She was alone in her car, unable to speak, unable to call for help. Despite seeing what had happened, Simmons did nothing. He did not call 911. He did not try to help her. He simply left her there. The gunshot was loud. Neighbors heard it. Some thought it was a firecracker first, but when they looked outside, they saw a motionless body inside the car. On March 7th, 2022, at approximately 5:30 p.m., Las Vegas police received a 911 call reporting a shooting in a residential area. Witnesses told the dispatcher that they had heard a loud gunshot followed by silence. Some neighbors saw a woman slumped over inside a white Chevrolet Camaro. When officers arrived at the scene, they found 28-year-old Ketora Denise Feazell in the driver's seat of her car. She had been shot once in the chest and was unresponsive. Paramedics arrived but were unable to save her. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Standing near the vehicle was 31-year-old Marvin Simmons, Ketora's boyfriend. Police immediately detained him and secured the crime scene. Witnesses told officers that before the shooting, they had heard shouting between the two. Simmons was taken to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department for questioning. At the police station, detectives interviewed Simmons. He was asked what happened and how Ketora had ended up shot in her car. Simmons gave multiple conflicting statements. First, he denied shooting Ketora. Then he said that the gun went off by accident. Later, he claimed he was not aiming at Ketora, but at a crowd of people nearby. Detectives found these statements suspicious. Witnesses had already reported hearing an argument between Simmons and Ketora just moments before the shooting. Simmons' changing story made investigators more certain that he was hiding the truth. Investigators collected evidence from the crime scene, witness statements, and security footage. The findings contradicted Simmons' claims. Forensic tests on the bullet showed that it was fired directly at Ketora's chest. The gunshot trajectory confirmed that it came from where Simmons was standing. Ballistics evidence proved that the bullet came from a gun that belonged to Simmons. No large crowd was found in the area, making Simmons' claim of shooting at a crowd false. Security camera footage showed Ketora getting into her car before the gunshot was fired. Eyewitnesses confirmed they heard arguing before the shooting. These findings prove that Simmons had deliberately fired at Ketora. After reviewing the evidence, police formally arrested Marvin Simmons and charged him with open murder, meaning the court would decide if it was first-degree or second-degree murder, attempting to discharge a firearm into an occupied vehicle. Simmons was booked into the Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas. His bond was denied, and he remained in police custody. As the investigation continued, police discovered that Simmons had a criminal past. He had previous charges of domestic violence. He had a history of violent behavior in past relationships. There were prior reports of threats and aggressive actions. Some of his ex-partners had filed complaints about his controlling behavior. Friends and family members of Ketora later revealed that there had been warning signs in her relationship with Simmons. He was jealous and controlling. He didn't like Ketora spending time with other people. There were arguments between them in the past. Some of Ketora's friends suspected that the relationship was unhealthy. However, no one expected it would turn deadly. Detectives also reviewed security footage from nearby cameras. The video confirmed key details. Ketora was inside her car, trying to leave. Marvin was standing nearby, holding the gun. After the gunshot, he did not immediately call 911. With all this solid evidence, detectives concluded that Simmons had intentionally shot Ketora. Marvin Simmons was charged with murder and firearm-related offenses. The evidence against him was strong. His original claim of shooting at a crowd was proven false. The The case was prepared for trial, where prosecutors would present forensic evidence, witness statements, and Simmons' criminal history. The killing of Ketora Denise Feazell was now a criminal case, and the legal system would determine Simmons' fate. During the trial, the court heard testimonies from witnesses, forensic experts, and investigators. The prosecution presented evidence that proved Simmons had deliberately shot Ketora. They also showed that he had a history of controlling behavior. The defense tried to argue that the shooting was not intentional, but the evidence against Simmons was too strong. In the end, the jury found Simmons guilty. Ketora Feazell had become a rising name in Las Vegas fashion. She worked hard to build her boutique, and many people in the industry admired her for her success. She had models, designers, and customers who supported her work. When news of her death spread, the fashion community reacted with shock. Many people could not believe that someone so young and successful had been killed. Local designers, models, and influencers shared posts about how she had inspired them. Some planned to work with her in the future, but now that future was gone. The Las Vegas fashion industry lost someone who had been making a name for herself. Feazell's family and friends were deeply affected by her sudden death. Many of them had seen her work hard for years to build her boutique and career. They describe her as a determined and hardworking woman who wanted to create something special. Her family had to deal with the painful reality that she would never come home again. Friends who had talked to her just days before now had to accept that she was gone. Many of them remembered her passion for fashion and her dreams for future. Her close friends spoke about their last moments with her. Some had noticed that her relationship with Marvin Simmons was not perfect, but they never imagined it would end in violence. After her death, many people went to social media to share tributes to Feazell. Friends posted pictures and memories, remembering her as a strong and creative person. Customers from her boutique talked about how much they loved her designs and her sense of style. Models and other business owners spoke about how she had motivated them to work harder. Some of her followers also posted messages about domestic violence awareness, using her story as a warning about recognizing danger in relationships. Her name trended in local news and on Las Vegas social media pages. People who had never met her also expressed sadness over her loss. Ketora Feazell's boutique, Ketora Echelon, was left without its owner. She had worked hard to grow her brand, and now there was no one to run it. The boutique had been her dream and passion. She spent years designing clothes, choosing styles, and making sure her store had the best fashion. Customers loved her work and had been waiting for new collections to drop. After her death, the boutique was closed indefinitely. Some people in the fashion community asked if someone would continue her work, but it was unclear who would take over. Some of her supporters suggested turning the boutique into a memorial for her work, but there was no official decision. What was clear was that her dream was cut short. After his arrest on March 7, 2022, Marvin Simmons was charged with open murder and attempting to shoot into an occupied vehicle. He remained in police custody while the case moved through the legal system. The trial took place in a Las Vegas courtroom. The prosecution and defense presented their arguments, and evidence was reviewed by a judge and jury. The prosecution focused on proving that Simmons intentionally shot and killed Ketora Denise Feazell. They used physical evidence, witness statements, and forensic reports to show that it fired the gun directly at Ketora. The defense tried to argue that the shooting was not intentional. Simmons claimed he was aiming at a crowd of people and that he did not mean to shoot Feazell. However, investigators found no evidence of a crowd nearby at the time of the shooting. Several witnesses testified about what they saw and heard. Neighbors reported hearing a loud argument between Simmons and Feazell just before the gunshot. The prosecution also presented video evidence from nearby security cameras, which captured the events leading up to the shooting. The trial lasted for several days, as both sides presented their arguments and questioned witnesses. The prosecution provided strong evidence against Simmons. They proved that Feazell was unarmed and inside her car when she was shot. Simmons fired a gun at close range. He did not call 911 after the shooting. He changed his story multiple times when questioned by police. The jury listened to all the evidence and deliberated before reaching a verdict. During the trial, Simmons' legal team tried to reduce the charges by arguing that the shooting was not premeditated murder. They claimed Simmons did not intend to kill Feazell. He was angry and acting recklessly. He was trying to fire a warning shot, not aiming at her. However, forensic experts confirmed that the bullet was fired directly at Feazell's chest, making it impossible for Simmons to claim it was an accident. Simmons also refused to testify in his defense, which meant the jury only heard his statements from a police investigation. The court reviewed all the evidence and concluded that Simmons had fired the gun on purpose. After reviewing all the evidence, the jury found Marvin Simmons guilty of murder. The judge sentenced Simmons to prison. The length of the sentence depended on the court's ruling, but he faced several years to life behind bars. The trial officially ended with the court holding Simmons responsible for Feazell's death. This case became an example of how dangerous relationships can turn violent. The court's decision ensured that Simmons faced consequences for his actions. The trial of Marvin Simmons was a reminder that justice would be served for victims of violent crimes. Domestic violence is a serious issue that affects many people. It happens when one person in a relationship tries to control or harm the other person. In some cases, it leads to serious injuries or even death. In Ketora Denise Feazell's case, the violence ended in murder. She was in a relationship with Marvin Simmons, a man who showed warning signs of controlling behavior. Before her death, Simmons displayed jealousy and anger issues. He did not like when Ketora spent time with others. He wanted to control her actions. These are red flags of an unhealthy relationship. Many people in toxic relationships do not recognize these warning signs until it's too late. Some people stay in these relationships because they hope things will get better. Others do not realize they are in danger. It is important for people to understand the risks. If someone is controlling, jealous, or violent, it can lead to something worse. People in these situations should seek help immediately. There are organizations that help victims of domestic violence. They provide shelter, legal help, and counseling for those in danger. Raising awareness about domestic violence can save lives. Ketora's story is an example of why it is important to recognize red flags early. Many people overlook warning signs in relationships, not knowing that they can lead to serious danger. Here are some warning signs that can indicate an abusive relationship: jealousy and possessiveness. The person does not want their partner to talk to or spend time with others. Control. The person tries to control their partner's actions, clothing, and decisions. Threats. The person threatens their partner, either verbally or physically. Violent outbursts. The person gets angry easily and may break things or act aggressively. Isolation. The person tries to keep their partner away from family and friends. In Ketora's case, her friends and family noticed changes in her. They saw that Simmons was controlling, but no one expected it would turn deadly. If someone notices these signs in a relationship, they should take action. Talking to a trusted friend, family member, or professional can help prevent violence before it happens. Many people think, "It won't happen to me." But cases like Ketora's show that it can happen to anyone. Being aware of these warning signs can help people avoid dangerous situations. Ketora Denise Feazell was more than just a victim. She was a successful businesswoman and model. She worked hard to build her fashion brand, Ketora Echelon. Her boutique became a popular place for stylish clothing in Las Vegas. Many people admired her work, and she was gaining recognition in the fashion world. Even though her life was cut short, her work in fashion remains part of her legacy. People still remember her talent, dedication, and success. Her boutique was a symbol of her dreams and achievements. She showed that with hard work and determination, success is possible. Her story is a reminder that domestic violence can affect anyone, even those who seem to have a perfect life. By learning from Ketora's case, people can become more aware of the dangers of toxic relationships. They can also honor her memory by supporting victims of domestic violence and raising awareness. Ketora Denise Feazell's story is not just about her death. It is about the lessons we can learn from it. Domestic violence is a serious issue that can lead to tragic outcomes. Recognizing red flags in relationships can help prevent violence. Honoring Ketora's legacy means remembering her success and spreading awareness. This case is a reminder that safety should always come first. If someone is in a dangerous relationship, they should get help immediately. There are many resources available to provide support and protection. Ketora's life was full of potential. She had big dreams and a bright future. By learning from her story, people can take steps to protect themselves and others. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.